Today on Locked On Rockies, on the night the Colorado Rockies said, hey, let's get Hunter Goodman some more all-star votes. What does he do? Well, he just goes out and hits a couple of bombs.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 17th day of June in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Like I said, where you can find your team every day. We are here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies, and we can fire off those talks. We can have some good old chats, good old fun here. So just what's on your mind after back-to-back Rockies wins? Yes, the Rockies, a rarity this season, certainly back-to-back wins, but playing better ball here. And I kind of want to just dive in immediately with this tweet here from Patrick Lyons to set the stage here, at least for kind of as we zoom out a little bit more on this season and on this stretch for the Rockies here. And this is from Patrick Lyons. Rockies score 3 in the 9th off Nationals closer Kyle Finnegan to win 6-4. That's 2 in a row on the road since June 2nd. Colorado is 6-7. Warren Schaefer seems to be getting something more from this roster. And that's certainly the case. I mean, 6-7. Remember, this was a team that won 3 games in the month of May. So we're talking about already doubling your win total from the previous month. We're talking about the Rockies shortening the gaps in between losses a little bit more frequently. That sample size is still a bit too small to kind of look at here. But when you zoom out here, going back to, June 2nd, it's 6-7. The Rockies are approaching the first time that they can be at a 500 stretch of baseball, playing a stretch of 500 ball for the entirety of the season. So again, it still doesn't make everything. It doesn't fix everything. It doesn't make everything instantly better. But when we are looking for progress, when we are looking for things that moving in the right direction, it is moving in a better direction. I don't know if we can sit there and say the right direction. Remember, this was still a team that dropped 5 in a row here. But now for the Rockies here, when you're looking at their last 5 games, they're 3-2. And the last time the Rockies were above, had that type of stretch in a 5-game series was against Miami. And before that, it hadn't happened all season long. The closest they had gotten was going 2-3 back in the beginning of May, end of April. And also beginning of April with the finale against the Athletics and the Brewer series and dipping into San Diego, going 2-3. That was their best 5-game stretch of the season, was going 2-3 a couple of times before the Rockies. Now 3-2. It's so small stuff. It is, but when we're talking about it being a more competitive, better game, better version of this Rockies team, they are playing better baseball. They are being a more competitive team. And it was on display in this game here, in this one too, right? Jumping out ahead, boom, Hunter Goodman, 2-run blast, getting out there, setting the tone early, putting the Rockies out ahead. And what was nice to see, at least in this for the beginning, was, okay, nothing going for a little bit of time. And then the Nationals answer, right? They go and they answer in the bottom of the 4th. So the Rockies able to get a few scoreless innings, but then they go there. Rockies do the answer. And then, as we've seen a ton this year, Washington hangs the 3 spot there with the home run there from Wood, who's just been a total Rockies killer in the 4 games now that these two teams have played. I believe the broadcast was mentioning that he was close to like 500 or something like that. But So you're kind of rolling your eyes and you're like, oh boy, especially when you're thinking, man, Carson Palmquist kind of had the moment and then it fell off. The controls started going out there. The walks started piling up for him, but they're able to settle things down there. Maia and Herget are able to be successful in their two things. Victor Vodnik and Seth Halverson also both allowing a walk, but no damage done. The Rockies didn't allow a hit to the Nationals after Carson Palmquist. So a very, very solid performance from the bullpen. Even navigating again, Halverson, the Rockies flipped the script, and then it's a leadoff walk, and you kind of start getting, you might roll your eyes and say, oh boy, here we go again. But instead, they flipped the script. And I gotta stop saying that one. I lean on that one all the time. A total cliche I gotta wipe out there. But the Rockies, they hung in there. And again, I think sometimes you look at and you question sometimes the toughness or the mental toughness. Sometimes the Rockies being able to stay in these close games, stay late. They've lost in these situations before this year. But again, as we're saying, with this team turning things around on a very small level, on a very small sample size level, but playing a better month of baseball so far through the first half of June, you're kind of seeing that this team can handle these situations, especially when you're playing a team like the Nationals, a team that is reeling right now. And this is, again, the Nationals were probably sitting there saying that the same thing where it's like, oh, here we go. Boom, the big breakout inning. The Rockies are scuffling here on offense. We're able to hold them at bay. And then the end of the game, the Rockies were able to, they doubled the Nationals in hits. They were able to create some threats throughout the ball game. It was highlighted by the fact that Hunter Goodman, without a doubt, and we were just talking, I think, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, where it was like, oh man, here's Hunter Goodman, and oh, here's Jake Bird. But now there is no argument about it. There is no way around it that the Rockies all-star is Hunter Goodman. He has been phenomenal this season. And we're going to go through some of the numbers here in segment number 2 to just kind of highlight why he deserves to be not just the delegated all-star for the Rockies, but someone that again, you look at the voting and shocker, Will Smith of the Dodgers is out ahead by literally 1 million votes. Wonder why that is. It's not just performance-based wise. When you have fans voting and when you got a lot of fans of teams, that's going to happen. But we got some numbers that'll back that up that the Rockies put out, mixed with the fact that Hunter Goodman hits 2 bombs. We're talking about the Rockies, being up, rising up to some occasions here in over the last 5 games and in the month of June, going up against Kyle Finnegan, who has been great this year, hasn't allowed a single home run up until the Rockies hang 2 on him. This was a situation here. Over 26 innings pitched here. Now, I should say that they just added on the 2 home runs there. But in 25 innings pitched, he hadn't allowed a home run. He had only allowed 6 earned runs on the year there, 8 walks to 21 strikeouts. So the strikeout clearly a part of his weaponry. But then the Rockies are the one that tag him and hang the 2 big home runs. And good for Mickey Moniak, again, as he kind of continues to ride an up and down season, a wave of a season that's kind of ebbs and flows. But when Mickey Moniak gets a base hit, it's extra bases more often than not, including a huge triple and the big long ball there at the end of the game. That's confidence right there. That's a team playing and feeling more confident in themselves and their ability to get the job done. It's another moment where it's, how do we build off of this? Where do you go from here? Especially when you're going into a situation where you have Antonio Senzatella on the bump tomorrow. Can the offense back up and stay in it in a game in which you should probably expect the Nationals to continue to be aggressive? The Nationals tagging for a couple of home runs, getting some offense here, doing some damage when they got limited, when in those limited hits, the Nationals 4 hits, 4 runs. So there, when you're looking at that with Senzatella, for example, on the bump, and in the back of your mind too, with Herman Marquez coming up in the finale and Chase Dollander, it's, can you keep matching the offense there? Can you, the host of Locked On Nationals, Ryan, was talking about how the Nationals have been looking for a power surge, and then they get a glimpse of it in this game here off of a Rockies pitching staff that hasn't been phenomenal this season, that hasn't been great this season. This is a good one to steal. Sets yourself up for a position for now. You get one more and you at least split the series. But if you go out and you win tomorrow, and you not only match your season high in win streak, but you're putting yourself in for at least a series split, a road series split. Mind you, the Rockies hitting these home runs and doing this stuff on the road, it's very impressive. I mean, that's an impressive win. It's a team win. It took the Rockies backing up their young starter and Carson Palmquist, who again, not great, but the walk's really the main damage thing there. But able to navigate and get out of some issues there for him. Still, has to wear the 4 earned runs that he had. But you know what? Wood is a good hitter. James Wood is very good. They have some strong hitters in this lineup, especially when you're looking at the top of the order here for the Nationals. So that was a game against again where young team versus young team, but Palmquist was able to keep the Rockies in the game enough, and the Rockies do their job on offense, and boom, they put together a win. Because you know what else they did? It's clean defense. It's giving yourself a chance throughout that one, because the Rockies 7 strikeouts in this one. Only 1 walk, but I'd argue that the at-bats were very quality, especially considering Hunter Goodman as well. Let's talk about that coming up here in just a little bit on segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. If you need help with an order, well, guess what? You're going to be able to talk to a real live person. Yes, a real live person, because Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service. That's what you want to hear, right? When you're dealing with your company, your orders, you're always going to talk to a real person. And for the trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Rock on, Rockies fans. Back at it here for segment number 2 of today's episode right here on Locked On Rockies. All sorts of good stuff. Let's dive into this second segment here with the plea from the Colorado Rockies on Twitter right now. It is this. They need your help to get Hunter Goodman into the All-Star game. Why? He is about 1 million votes behind Will Smith. He is roughly 150-ish behind Carson Kelly. He's about 30,000 behind Francisco Alvarez and about 2,000 behind JT Realmuto in terms of catcher voting right now. That was before the game here. And they followed that up with this here from the Rockies. Goodman leads all catchers in hits and triples. He has 74 hits. He has 3 triples, and he leads the National League National League catchers in home runs, doubles, and RBI. He now has 13 home runs to add to this. There was 11 home runs when they first tweeted this out. Doubles, he has 16, and now that RBI is up to 43. That's an all-star, folks. That is when you're looking there, and I think when you're looking at the biggest frustration probably with Hunter Goodman, the catcher, is he just hasn't been defensively as good as you would like in certain situations. But that's not. I don't think a lot of people are voting in the All-Star game for defensive abilities for catcher. Now, certainly it's an impact for some, absolutely. But when you're leading that way, when you're leading in clutch categories like that, and again, it doesn't have to be leading all of the league. There is no catcher outperforming Cal Raleigh right now, certainly. But the Rockies, on the other hand, have a guy that's doing the damage, doing the work, doing things that make him deservedly be a front runner for the All-Star game. Not just by, the fact that everyone gets in and something like that, but statistically, he's putting up a performance that should make him a favorite to be in the All-Star game. We take a look here real quick just to compare for the comparison's sake for Will Smith here. And let's take a look at Will Smith's season here so far, which is a good season. Let's make that clear here. Batting .317 with an OBP of .419 and an OPS of .908. He's got 6 homers, 38 RBI with 2 stolen bases, and 59 hits. So again, it's a good. He's a Dodger. What are we to expect? That's a good solid line there, right? But when you compare it here overall, there are some intriguing differences between the two here. When you're looking at Hunter Goodman compared to Will Smith, Hunter Goodman has now, 7 more home runs than Will Smith. He has about 23 more hits. He's got 5 more RBI, 1 less stolen base. His batting average is 287 compared to Will Smith's 317. An OBP for Smith to 419 compared to Hunter Goodman's 329, and an OPS of 846. So again, OBP, average, OBP, OPS, those numbers, the consistency, which favors Smith. The other thing to factor in there, that's 186 at-bats for Smith, pulling that off compared to Hunter Goodman's 265 there. So pretty big difference when it comes to at-bats in total there. But Hunter Goodman is comparable to the best in the biz at catcher, especially when you're talking about on offense. It isn't the Cal Raleigh season like we mentioned, but he has certainly stayed, made his claim and staked his claim as a great candidate for the Rockies All-Star, and he does deserve some more support. And unfortunately, though, because it's masked, because it is the reality of the Rockies, right? You can't ignore the record. You can't ignore what's happened. You can't ignore the fact that, strikeouts certainly still a problem for him in this year with 74 strikeouts already on the season for Goodman. But at the same time, I think there's enough there. At least there's the argument for the Rockies to be saying there. Jake Bird will be a good candidate for it, but regardless, and one of the things that I liked about Goodman and I wanted to bring up here was the Rockies. They didn't get a lot of walks in this game, only 1 walk, but we saw the Rockies draw out some at-bats, foul off some pitches, including Hunter Goodman fighting himself back into account and able to get that home run in the first inning. We saw the Rockies able to fight off some pitches, go deeper in some counts, and be successful off of that. Still struck out 7 times, but when we're talking about success there, it's anytime the Rockies strike out less than 10 times is a good thing. And when you look at the context of it, Ryan McMahon responsible for 3 of them. I just don't. He is so weird, man. Ryan McMahon is so weird. It does. I do not know how everything is so different. And again, there are plenty of offensive threats that are like this in the game that strike out a lot, that are big threats on offense, but the inconsistencies of Ryan McMahon just do not allow him to be, in that Schwarber level thing. But you still feel confident with them, but it's just so painful when the Rockies go to the middle of their lineup, their 4-hole, and their 4-hole hangs up 3 strikeouts. It just can't happen. And Ryan McMahon here on the season here already, 86 strikeouts. I mean, he is well on track to continue to be a guy that strikes out at a incredibly high rate. So I'd like to continue to see the guys fouling off, draw a little bit more walks, continue to be disciplined at the plate and swinging and hitting the right pitches. But it isn't just as simple as that. But I just kind of wanted to highlight the fact that it did seem like the Rockies were a little bit more comfortable, able to not as many whiffs there. No one else on the Rockies there had multiple strikeouts in this ball game. Outside of Ryan McMahon, Michael Toglia returns to the lineup, does have another strikeout, but RBI single as well, hits the ball hard. So there were some quality and better at bats in this ball game as well. But again, 7 strikeouts. I mean, it's still too much on that stuff there. But enough, doing the right stuff on offense there as well. The team going 3 for 5 with runners in scoring position, only leaving 2 runners on in this one, getting a couple of stolen bases there from Sam Hilliard and Tyler Freeman as well. Hilliard coming in late into the ball game to be stealing that or to be stealing that base and be able to be driven in there. That a lot of little things when the Rockies are able to pull this game off, because not only did they get the timely hitting in those big moments, but they do the little things. They were able to navigate the walks, keep the defense without throwing the ball away. Don't be shooting yourself in the foot like the Rockies have done so much. And they were able to deal with the traffic that they gave themselves. I mean, when you're looking at, we were talking about the walks being a problem there. Nationals hitting draw 5 walks in there. The Nationals got more walks than they did hits in this ball game. But the Rockies able to navigate most of that. There was some damage done by the walks there to Palmquist, of course, like we mentioned. But that's if you had games like that, right? If you had more instances with the little things adding up, playing that complete 9 innings like we've talked about, the Rockies wouldn't be in the situation they're in currently. But we're focusing on the fact that the Rockies are 3-2 over their last 5 games for the first time this season. We're focusing on the fact that June has been a better month of baseball for the Rockies here. Plenty of growth, plenty of frustration, still plenty of issues, but it is true this team is playing differently than it has to start this season, and that will lead to some that is definitely part to a change in the clubhouse as well. So credit to Warren Schaefer where it is due there. All right, let's take a quick break and let's get ready to land this plane. We'll look ahead to tomorrow's the matchup here for tonight, and just continue to break it all down right here on Locked on Rockies. If I can click my buttons. Folks, want to tell you about some of the people that help make the show possible, and that includes OpenPhone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. For me, in the world of radio, any missed call could mean a guest isn't able to make the show, isn't able to join us for an interview, a variety of things. A missed call is costly, and you don't want to be freaking out because you just did something as simple as not being able to answer the phone. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe. If the first plumber didn't answer, did you wait? No, you called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone or computer, putting it all in one place so you don't have to go multiple numbers, multiple this. Oh, man, who's talking to this person? Who's handling this? Can you handle this? Can you talk to the person? No, the whole team can share one number and respond to customers like a shared inbox. No more asking, who's handling this? Plus, the AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer again. OpenPhone is offering Locked On Rockies listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OpenPhone.com/LockedOnMLB. And if you have existing numbers with another service, well, guess what? OpenPhone is going to port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone, no missed calls, no missed customers. Locked On Rockies here, wrapping things up, celebrating back-to-back Rockies wins there. And the Rockies offense, how about that? Continuing, another nice big number there, 6 runs on the board for the Rockies on that one. The Rockies now, when you're looking at it over, we're talking about how it's been a good 5-game stretch for the Rockies. The Rockies have scored 5+ runs now once, twice, 3 times in this 5-game stretch, but they also had a 7-run performance there against the Giants. They had another 5-run performance against the Giants and another 5-run game against the Giants. And before, 5 runs seemed to be impossible for the Rockies offense in certain parts of this season. But again, the Rockies offense seeming to be in a better place right now, seeming to be a little bit more confident, still striking out a lot, still dealing with those issues, but do seem to be in a better place there as the Rockies, it was the offense that was the difference maker there at the end of that ball game. Again, it's a great sign for both Hunter Goodman and Mickey Moniak to be able to have that success over a good pitcher. And again, we don't want to overhype everything. There, we talked about some of the issues there, the walks, the Ryan McMahon hole in the middle of the lineup. Still the concerns to have there, and things to be worried about. But we're starting to see a little bit of a groove here. We're starting to see the Rockies kind of start forming a different identity throughout this June month here. This next chunk of the season here. I mean, like we said, already doubling their win total from May. So that's hey, it couldn't get much worse, right? And we're talking, it's about progress, and we're starting to see some of that. So, all right, let's look ahead to the matchup here against the Nationals in game number 2. Antonio Senzatella, and the numbers are brutal, folks. Brutal here. 1-10 for Senzatella, 7.23 ERA, a whip of 2.03 in 66 innings pitched. He's allowed 110 hits, only 35 strikeouts, 24 walks, 12 home runs in this time. And the Rockies, I think, are going to be facing a pretty similar situation to where they were in this game here. They're going up against Michael Soroka here, 3-4 win-loss record there, 5.14 ERA, a whip of 1.12 over 42 innings, 37 hits allowed. So, I mean, just imagine, just look at the difference, the sizable difference. Even if you doubled the innings pitched and doubled the hits allowed by Soroka this season, he would not come. He still would be behind Antonio Senzatella there. And only 10 walks throughout that time, and 8 home runs. So again, home run possibility there. We saw that the weather might be a little bit of a factor, but guys were still able to muscle it out of the yard and put the ball over the wall there in this game on both sides. So we'll see how it's a factor. These are it's going to be interesting to see two offenses that I think are going to come into this game looking to do damage, looking to jump on it. The best thing the Rockies can do is get out ahead early in this game too. With Senzatella, especially the 2025 version of Antonio Senzatella up on the bump, there is no amount of runs that you can score that is enough. You need to be able to continue to add on and pile on. And if you're Senzatella, you need to make an adjustment. You need to be able to figure out how to get swings and misses. You need to be able to figure out how to get weak contact. And it's not just a Senzatella problem, but it is prove it time for Antonio Senzatella, because if Freeland returns, there's going to be a point where I'm rather watch Palmquist go through and figure this out. I know Feltner just got moved to a deeper spot in the IL, so maybe not the best one there, but Antonio Senzatella needs to show you that he can still give you value. He can still perform and give you what you need for the Rockies. His ERA in the last 7 days is 15.75. And again, obviously that's like one start, right? It's not that much. But when you're looking at the fact of the matter here, in 4 out of his last 5 games, he allows 6+ hits. In 4 out of the last 5 games for Senzatella, he has allowed 4 or more earned runs. He also has he walked 3 his last time out. 4 the time before that. He had 4 strikeouts in the game against the Yankees back in May, but topping out at about 2 strikeouts a game, and he's only getting to around the 4th inning. Antonio Senzatella, that just can't be the standard for a major league starter. It needs to be you need to be able to go deeper in games and keep you in it, or you need to be able to burn through people and do the job and get the job done there. I don't know if we're going to see an opener or anything anymore for Antonio Senzatella. Nothing mentioned on the broadcast about that going into this game, but Antonio Senzatella has there needs to be a big rebound there. He needs to prove that he is still capable of doing what the Rockies paid him when they gave him the contract, and back that up with his performance. Because when my most doubtful Rockies thoughts, unfortunately, also involve Antonio Senzatella. I hope we can see him get the weak contact. I hope that he can be successful against a weaker offense. When you're looking at the fact that his last 5 games have been against the Giants, the Mets twice, the Yankees, and the Phillies, this on paper should be one of the better matchups for Senzatella that he's had recently here. When he matched up against Washington earlier, great start for him in the 6 innings. He did allow 6 hits, but only 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts there. So was successful against the Nationals earlier in the season there at Coors Field. Let's see if he can replicate that here in the second game in the nation's capital. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and we're available on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. If you need a second listen, go check out Locked On MLB and Locked On MLB Game Night. They got you covered over there, and we got you covered with all sorts of Colorado sports on the Locked On Podcast Network. Locked On Broncos, Avalanche, Nuggets, Buffs, all free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Until next time, I'm Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.